Welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
Oh, and that was a slow start off the start line today.
These two riders on your screen are the leaders. Let's see what happens. That's a brilliant shot looking back here. Great to see.
And Rebecca Gilson is really putting the hammer down now and putting a gap between her and Bauer. It's always a difficult choice, Matt, but Rebecca Gilson, you can't take anything away from her. She had a plan and she executed it.
That rider who attacked on the climbs, who has executed that plan, who has played to her strengths. They say race to your strengths and train your weaknesses. This is a rider for whom a course like this pays off. Rebecca Gilson comes out to play. She plays to win. She comes up to the line. It's going to be Rebecca Gilson coming through. Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club with me, Matt Payne. I'm here in the studio for Qualifier Race 3 on the 18th of September, our last qualifier prior to our finals. I'm joined down in the studios by Professor Emma Martin, who is here with all the stats details and, of course, the in-depth analysis, and, of course, Keen E Racer as well. Emma, we saw some great racing last time round. In the rewind, it showed you that attack of Gilson, and you talked about having a plan and executing it. Are we going to see the same today?
Well, welcome everybody to the Sunday Race Club. It's going to be an interesting one today, I think, Matt. We have got an astounding course for these women to race on today. And as you can see there in front of you, the first 400 metres is uphill. So this race course goes from the gun. We have 35.6 kilometres with 440 metres of climbing, which, whilst it might not be our hilliest course, it is relentless. So we have 4 laps of what you see in front of you today. We've got an 8.9 kilometre lap, 4 laps, 1, 2, 3, 4 climbs per lap. So yes, you are right. That is 16 climbs in this race. So we start off on the uphill, and we have a number of climbs all around 700, 800 metres and around between 3 and 4% average gradient.
So a very unrelenting course. In fact, I'm looking at that thinking, I'm not sure where our riders are going to be able to rest, where they're going to be able to recover other than on some of those slight downhills. There's very little flat on this course, and it's going to be down to our Category 1 squad, no doubt, to take this out, because the Category 1 teams are led out by the Fusion squad with Kiara Donny, Anna Embry and Marlene Bjarhead. Very strong race squad there. Spartan Obstacles have been the team to beat in the race in Las Colombianas as well. Always strong. But Team Italy in here. And the Team Italy guys of Pardini and Lanteri, going to be interesting to see how they get on up against the riders from the Andina cycling team and, of course, strong girls. So really strong strength of riders. And we've got back Rebecca Gilson as well, Emma.
Yeah, so Gilson is indeed on the start sheet today after watching that epic ride with Jojo Bauer last week, and Bauer's on the start sheets too. In fact, we've got 20 riders today on Category 1 on the start list today, and 6 teams in total.
So on to our Category 2 riders. The teams of the Whooshers are back with a tri-women. The tri-women, I mean, what strength in depth. Martina Gironi, Silvia Alaria Olivieri, as well as Alicia Antico and Eleni Cinelli. I mean, a very strong squad there up against the Whooshers, and of course the Team RT10, the Team Fitness 10 in here, the team from the Cycle Zone, the strong women's team, and Team Golden Light, which is really interesting because the Golden Light has now got a teammate in there in the shape of Lucy Collins. So Lucy, welcome. Good to have you joining the teams, and some strong riders riding individually, and a slightly bigger race field. Is that right, Emma?
Yeah, so our Category 2 field is often the biggest. And today, 27 riders on the start sheets in Category 2 wearing those green jerseys, and 6 teams in total in this category as well.
And of course, the riders separated out into our three categories. And in category 3, 2 teams. The Thundercats team are represented by Mordito. And then, of course, Climber Girls, Ochoa, Giraldo, Gallego, and Barco. Always very good. And great to see they keep on putting in those performances week after week. And some really interesting names in there. People like Mary Jo, so Koikin in there, Apple, Clarissa Garcia in the group as well. Now we're going to see if one of these riders is going to take it on. And another big race field.
Yeah, so our category 3 riders are indeed a competitive field, and 27 on the start sheets again with those 2 teams. So 74 riders today on our start sheets overall. And just a point to note, Matt, that final climb there in front of us on the last lap, from the top of that final climb, it's 2.2k to the finish line. But it's not a flat run-in. It's down, it's up, it's down, it's flat, and there's a slight rise to that finish line today.
I'm glad you can remember all those ups, downs, flat, straights, up, and I'm sure you'll be bringing us that on the way through. So here on Sunday Race Club, we are on qualifying number 3, 2 qualifying rides that have to be verified to move on to our final. So important for our riders to finish today, even if they're not up in contention for the win, because of course it's only 2 out of 3 chances in our 3 qualifiers, but 2 to count. And this route, I look at that and I think, yeah, nothing too big, nothing too difficult. But I think Emma is going to point out every time I say that it's unrelenting and it is going to be without a rest. And our riders at the moment, just on that final countdown, just warming up on the turbo trainers.
Yeah, indeed they are. So whilst they warm up and spin their legs on those turbo trainers, waiting for that start gun to go, we've got 61 riders on the start there in those yellow, blue and green jerseys. This course today is going to be unrelenting, and we're going to see a fast start off the line here as we're watching the yellow jerseys push to the front of this pack, as Gilson has gone for a flyer to really get that selection into that front pack on this starting climb.
Well, look at this. We are seeing this going really, really hard. We're just in with Genesia Menendez and Pardini now, the rider who's pushed over the top to go into the elite. So Veronica Pardini now moving up for Team Italy, who is in the lead. Menendez is chasing them, Bauer-Lenteri, followed by Fua Van Heuling. Emma, you said this is an uphill start, but this is destroying the race field within the first few hundred meters.
Yeah, it's a 400-meter uphill start today, Matt. And let's put it this way. These riders have really put the power down to really make this a select group as they drop over the other side as we get 500 meters into a frantic start on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
Well, it looks like Gilson is absolutely flying to get into this group, just pushing over the top, going to make contact with the leading pack, if not the leading riders. And at the moment, that pack looking like it's about 18 to 20 riders in the middle of it. But we are seeing people yo-yoing in and out as they find their feet on here. And this start, an uphill start, means you've got to be on the power, and you've got to have your legs and lungs working at full speed from the word go.
And you've got to time it perfectly, Matt, because, you know, you go too early whilst you're on that start time, you're blowing your matches and you're on your deceleration when the gun goes. What you want to do is time your start so you're accelerating as the banner drops. That acceleration phase is really, really key on MyWhoosh to getting a good start.
Well, we're seeing a real mix of green and yellow jerseys. There are first and second category riders on the left of the screen, on the right-hand side of the screen, just jumping in with Sandra Veronica Giraldo just in the mix there in that blue jersey. Watching the riders, looks like Maria Liana just in front. There's Maria Liana Suan just in front. They are currently in what is going to be, I think, 24th and 26th place overall, but in category, that could well put them right up in the lead of category 3. I'm not seeing any blue dots between them and our leading group, who are on to this bridge, onto the rise, and it looks to me already like Olivieri is starting to take this out from the front, and I think our camera's spinning around. Yep, so getting a shot back, and you can see at the moment a little bit of a tail to this, Emma, so a little bit of a thinning towards the back, yes.
Yes, but I think we're going to see that Matt, as we transition, because this is a constantly transitioning course today. It's up, it's down, it's flat, it's up, it's down, it's flat. It is constantly rolling, this course today. And we are on a slightly steeper section at the moment, with coming up to 7% in gradient for these riders as they cross this bridge. And as you can see, Matt, not just this front group have got a tail to them, we can see the chasing group behind as well.
And the second climb, I think, judging by where we are on the course. And remember, of course, the average gradient, which is 4.1, is an average. And by definition, that includes the flat sections at the top and the flatter section coming in, as well as that steep over 7%, and that is counting. Great view looking back both ways there, so looking back and forward as Dorothy Gonzalez Rue comes on to the back of Chinelli with Santiago in front. And I think Rue's got to really push behind. Big group of riders. So 2 riders, Reynard and Ortiza at 26 seconds, 25, 26 seconds. Hadlock and Barragan then at 38 seconds. And I think that is the case. Those 2 riders that we saw from Category 3 are leading Category 3 riders. So the lead group in the race coming up over the top of the bridge here, and really are going to be able to wind it up. Jojo Bauer quickly up to the front. And it's important, isn't it, to sit near the front of the group, Emma, when you have a reasonable volume of riders, because if a gap opens, you've got to sprint across that and close that back down again, and it can happen out of sight.
Yeah, and that is one of the things about big packs on MyWhoosh, because the riders can see exactly what we can see, and dependent upon where you are in that pack, you're getting the information we're getting. So on the right hand side of the rider's screen, like the ones that we're seeing at the moment, is the table with the other riders, putting out the riders' watts per kilo and the distance in time between each of the riders as well. So they have the same information as we do, and to be at the back of that pack of 23, 24 riders, you're not really going to see what's going on at the front of that group. And whilst you might not want to be on the front because you won't be in the draft, pretty much you want to be close to it. You want to be with around rider 5, 6 or 7 if actually you've got some real intent in this race today.
And really interesting what you're saying there, because that view, a lot of riders will be watching live, and it is a key skill, isn't it? Because you will get a different camera angle. You'll see a different rider's point of view. That's adding to the information that comes in as a rider, as a racer. So you would maybe leave your screen on a forward-facing view, maybe with your avatar, maybe 5 meters in front of you, or what feels like 5 meters in front, so that you can watch what's going on in front. But if our camera angle shows backwards, or it's on a helicopter shot, or it's sitting with the rider maybe further back, you're going to get a better view. You're going to see more, and in theory, you're going to know what's going on better.
Yeah. So I would have 2 screens at the moment, Matt. I'd have the screen that I am riding on MyWhoosh that shows me my position, and I can see that. And probably somewhere to the side, I may well have this live feed going as well, which would give me an overall picture of what's happening around me and give me further information.
And you can also see, of course, where everybody else is a little further back when we have our split screens on. So we're doubling up the screens, gets even better, because, of course, we can now see our leading riders in category number 3. And this is our 3rd category leaders on the right of your screen here. And currently sitting roundabouts positions 25 back. That's a big group of riders. They're on the right of your screen. Interesting to see on the left of our screen, 1 or 2 riders in category 2 starting to feel the pace here. So Galuma and Chinelli now starting to lose a little bit of ground as they go up onto the bridge, and the gradient now kicking on the left of your screen. They've got to get back into that group quickly, and you can see the bridge that they're climbing on the right of your screen. There's a great shot there. So we have our race leaders. This is the leading group. We're just in with Galuma, who goes on to the back here, and interestingly, Pardini just being distance, line Terry being a distance as well. And that for me is telling, because it says to me what these riders are not able to do is go with the pace at a constant, sustained distance, because what they've done is they've stayed with them early, but then they've been pushed out the back.
Yeah, so this is climb number 3 going up and over this bridge, Matt. And there are, like we said earlier on, there are 16 climbs. They may not be really steep, but we have got between 700 and 800 meters, between 3 and 4% gradient average. this is a massive under and overs session. We're going to see pace, we're going to see recovery, we're going to see pace, we're going to see recovery, and it is almost like attrition. It is who can hang in the longest and who has the least lactic acid in their legs from the effort, rest, effort, rest, effort, rest that we are probably going to see these riders do today.
Well, certainly putting in an effort. Rebecca Gilson kicks up to the front, then eases off. Van Heuling comes up on the wheels. Fua, Bjarhead, Hermansen, Embring, Sanchez, Bauer, Sanchez, Cordero, Gironi, Kekkonen, all in this group. A real mix of riders. And at the moment, certainly, I think Gilson's saying, I'm here, I'm on form. You want this? I'm quite happy to go put in an effort on the front and make your life hard time and time again. And I think that is telling, isn't it? At this stage in the race, we are coming just over the 5K mark, 35K. That means we have got 7th of the distance done, and already we are seeing Gilson starting to put a statement to other riders. But will we see Embring? Will we see Bauer? Will we see Fua? Well, could it be Van Heuling who goes up there? 5 prizes per category, first category, second category, and third category. Not only that, of course, next week we've got our team categories as well.
Yeah, so, we are in with a really mixed bunch. So we're currently in with Anna Embring. Embring is indeed an indoor specialist and has got some really great power numbers, really knows how to put the power down and to race indoor racing platforms. We've got a mix here, of riders, category 1 and category 2 riders at the moment. We are 5.8 kilometres in to a 35.6 kilometre race, but we are 3 climbs into a 16 climb race. And I think that's what's going to be more telling on riders' legs today, Matt.
Indeed, and I think it could well be that we're going to see a battle of attrition with riders going out the back, maybe more than we're going to see riders going out of the front of this group, because you can respond for a little while, you respond for a little while, you respond for a little while, and everybody will then break away at different times. So at the moment, just riding in with Julie Sanchez, one of our many second category riders, in with the first category riders in there, and we can see at the moment those riders are working well. And I think for me, we are having a really interesting mix. On this climb, it's 3.2%, but the first category one riders not necessarily taking it to category 2. We've had a long period where they've been in that mix.
Yeah, so this is climb 4, Matt. So this is the first look we are going to get at the run into the finish on this 4-lap course. So they will go up this climb, they will drop down the other side. There is a small climb, then another descent, then a small period of flat, and then a slight uphill into the finish line. So at the top of this climb that they're on at the moment, it's a 2.2k running to what this time will be end of lap 1, but in a 3 more laps will be the end of the race.
I'm glad you're doing the maths behind how many laps there are, quite how far around the course we are here today, because it's definitely keeping us on our toes. Now, our leaders left of your screen going up over the top of this climb. Looks like Santiago just distanced in 18th position. The leading group of riders, 14 riders in that leading group over the top. They go now on to the descent. This is where they're picking up the pace, 50 kph on the left of your screen. Compare that to the climb. 15 kph on the way up. Here we are in with our leaders now. This is the run now. So the big descent is still in progress here, because we're on minus 3.3%. So we do a down, an up, a down, a flat, and an up. If I can remember this correctly, I'm not as good as Emma on the up, downs, lefts and rights on the way through. Actually, I'm better on the left and right, but not on the up and down for some weird reason. But just in with Sanchez, 17th place, and working hard here. That's a big Watts number coming out at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that's because she's just been distanced off the back of that group, and she wants to make that chase, because the gap back now to group 2 on the road is 1 minute and 20 seconds. So we've got a group of 18 riders here. We've had 23, we've gone to 18 as we come to the end of this first lap, and then we've got a bigger gap back to the chasing groups.
And this great shot. This is an amazing camera angle because it shows us really definitively how that group is rolling around. We've just come over and on that sort of climbing and dropping and climb again. So this is the section that is going to take us into that finish. And I think, Emma, what you said about this run into the finish being really critical to take a look at, I think that is very true, because if you are racing, you come into this, you're going to need to know where to kick and where to rest. And when you're in the finish, it's going to be very easy to get this wrong. So we're coming into downtown Bahrain at the moment. We're going to be taking this left-hand bend. It then goes to a right-hand bend. Now, having ridden this on MyWhoosh, and I've ridden this as part of a Whoosh's ride with SS and Mr. X100. In fact, we were out here. They did a great job of distancing me every time we came around these turns, because they know exactly where to put the effort in, versus me. I'm riding like as many routes as I can rather than just our race routes. They knew exactly where to get, where that finish was, and the time spent really paid off. Not just because they're better, but because they actually know exactly where to kick and where to push. And that is key here in Bahrain. It's a great route, but it does pay to know exactly where you need to push. And this run to the finish here, it's very, very wiggly, Emma. It twists, it turns, it's very sinuous. And I'm not sure we're going to get a great view of that finish line.
No, it's a really technical run in. We've got left-hand bend, right-hand bend, left-hand bend, sweeping, and we've got another left-hand bend coming up, and we still can't see the finish line, or at this point in time, the lap banner. So it is a long run without seeing that line, and that is going to play to knowing the course. When we come in on the last lap, on lap number 4 of this, those riders who know this course, those riders who have raced this course before and know where to launch that sprint, if they come in with other riders, is really going to pay off, because timing will be critical.
And as we take this shot up from above, you can just see the gradient has gone to 3%. The group is starting to fracture here as they come around this left-hand turn. Here comes the gantry now, and that is a very technical finish. Everyone's got that absolutely nailed there. It is really about making sure you know where that is. Imprint it on your mind on lap 1, then on lap 2, then on lap 3, so that when you come in, you know exactly where it is. And look at it, it's a trigger point here for our riders kicking off, because this is basically from where we were on the start line. And this is what broke the race apart in the first place. So here we go. We're on to the climb again, and you can see the general decimation of that bunch. It has been pulled apart. It was a compact, very small ground space taken up by those riders. All of a sudden, we hit that climb, the pressure goes on, and it strings out, and we see the gaps open and the distance open. Reaction times come into play. Who's got the strength in there? I mean, we're riding in with Anna Embring, who's got herself right up into the mix. She's currently sitting in second wheel at the moment, looking like she's very, very smooth indeed. But people like Bauer and Gilson clearly have no problems with this section of the course either, and are right up there. So the back of this pack in with, I think it's going to be Moreno. So we just take a little bit of a flick around. We're just working our way up to the front with Fua. So just going to be taking our way up towards our leading riders. You can see that the riders on the way round quickly over the top and into the descent. So back up to speed, up to pace, 50 kph, 30 miles an hour or so.
Yeah, so we are coming down the descent off of climb number 5 as we move into lap number 2. We will shortly, it won't be very long until these riders start going uphill again, and they start going uphill on climb number 6.
6 of 16. It's a scary thought, isn't it? To be out and racing that, but these are some of the best riders in the world on MyWhoosh here today on the Sunday Race Club, looking to put in a good performance here at qualifier number 3 of 3 before our finals next week. Remember, it's important to make sure that our riders get that verification done. It's 2 verified rides to get yourselves into the final, and making sure you do that is key. Whilst you're doing that, you're also going to want to be recceing and making sure you're learning the routes to see where we're going to go in our finals, because the finals, of course, knowing the route is absolutely critical. Now, just seeing Novalinka Conan go in and getting a decent push on in here in what is this bunch. A rider who has been strong a few months ago, was right up in the mix, dropped back a little bit in form, but I think coming back into the pace, into the leading groups once again. But on this climb, we're starting to see that aggressive ride up on the front. Our leaders continue to kick. No surprises here. Gilson on the offensive on the climb.
Yeah, I was waiting for it, Matt, and indeed Gilson is pushing on now, 8.1 watts per kilo. She's really utilising this 700 metres of climbing here over this bridge to her benefit as she tries to start to break this group. I've been sat here wondering who is going to push on and who is going to break this group of 18 riders, because at the moment they've been riding really comfortably together. Great to see Gilson really start to attack.
So Gilson is on the front. Interesting to watch that response. Sanchez, Van Heuling, Bjarhed, Embring, Bauer, Fua, Hermansen, Cadero, the riders in that order in the chase behind. Big names like Van Heuling, Liz Van Heuling, really pushing on there. Looks very, very strong. One of my favourite riders. I'm not allowed to have favourites in this because she's always aggressive, always attacking. Same could be said for Bauer and Gilson. Let's face it, they are riders who don't sit in. Probably the opposite of what I should do, but never actually remember to do, and end up going on the offensive too often. And sometimes you can pay for that. Gilson, though, class athlete, tends to go clear.
Yeah, and it was indeed Van Heuling who won when we were out on this course last time in the women's race. And in fact, I think it was qualifier 3 in August, if my memory serves me right. But it was indeed Van Heuling that won that day. And you're right, Matt, this type of course really suits her. But Gilson wasn't on the start line, I don't think, that day. So I think we're going to see some really great riding as we see those yellow jerseys descend over this climb and gaps start to form in what was a group of 16 riders at the bottom of the climb.
So the group continues to break, to split, to come back together again. We're in with Rebecca Gilson at the moment. And we're talking about this race last time, Emma. That really did make me think of the power numbers that we saw on the way through. Last time on this course, we saw some phenomenal power coming out. We've had a great men's race. We're not going to give any spoilers away of what happened in that. No nudge, nudge, wink, wink on the way through. But what we are talking about is a rolling aggressive, not one big climb at the end, but kick after kick after kick after kick. That's what we had in the men's race. We saw huge power numbers and aggressive racing. We're seeing that again, I think, here, and we certainly saw that last time we were on the course.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because heart rate and power is a really interesting relationship, and quite often it'll take a little while for your heart rate to catch up with the power numbers that you're putting out as it starts to climb. These climbs are really short. You know, they are 400 meters, 700 meters. The longest climb today is 800 meters, you know, so you're putting the power down, your heart rate catches up, you go over the top and the power comes off. So it's a really interesting relationship between heart rate and power on this course. And we will see I'm hoping we will really see some fire on this course as we get to laps 3 and 4.
Well, certainly on fire, our Cat 3 riders. Great battle in here. We've got Georgina Hyde in here. We've got Maria Leanne Suan in the mix here. We've got Jackie Giuliano in here. Maria Jose Zabala in the group. They've got a real mix of riders in our Category 3. So these are our leaders, if I'm not much mistaken, in Category 3. Nice to be able to jump back and take a little bit of a look at what's going on in this mix. And some great riding here as we go up this climb. And we're seeing good wattage as well coming out. We're seeing some good pedal revs in there. Our leading group, very similar in terms of pedal revs, in terms of heart rate. It shows just how both groups work at a very similar rate. Difference is, of course, our Category 1 riders, they are the quickest riders out there. Some of the best riders in the world.
They are indeed, Matt, but it does mean that there is something for everybody on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It doesn't matter whether you are a world-leading esports rider or what you do is you like to ride 2 or 3 times a week on your turbo trainer, in your pain cave, in your garage, in your spare bedroom, in your lounge, in your kitchen. There is something for everyone. And as you can see there, the Category 3 race is just as competitive. We've got a group of 6 leading riders in Category 3, and we've got a group here of the leading Category 1 and leading Category 2 riders. every category is competitive on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. And that, for me, Matt, is absolutely fantastic.
It is just watching Van Heuling going in to the attack mode, just pushing on and continuing to go over the top there. So looks good as she goes. Gilson now starts to push on again. So it looks like Gilson working hard here, Emma. And we saw, I think, probably a classic counter-attack move there, really, by Gilson.
Yeah, and we've got Gilson, we've got Bjarhavet, Sanchez, Bauer, Fua, all starting to respond now as we can see that small chain of five yellow jerseys push on into the distance there, with Chasers really now starting to try and close that gaps and bring this group back together again.
And interesting to see Anna Embring jumping across the gap, gets onto the back, ahead here of Liliana Moreno. So that was the last yellow jersey to make contact with that group. Now Moreno's going to make contact with it as well. Jojo Bauer in the mix. So at the moment, in terms of category 1, Fua, Moreno, Van Heuling, Embring, Gilson. Bauer not all that far out of this, I think, at the moment. And bear in mind, we are going to see a real fight, because this is not a course that's going to put big gaps in initially. What it does is it spits people out if they can't respond, and then it'll come back together again. Now, the riders just regrouping here, and Liliana Moreno has to make sure she doesn't get caught out. She was right up, and a bit like on a Devil Take the Highmost or an elimination race, a moment's inattention will see you sitting comfortably in the middle of the group into that position at the back and maybe unable to close through and come back into the race.
Well, you never know what happens, do you, Matt? Because, she could have then been reaching for a water bottle off her bike or off of a side table. She could have dropped it on the floor. She'd sat up momentarily and the power dropped and she went out the back. So many things are happening to these riders and races that we don't know about whilst they're riding on this platform, and that just makes things really interesting.
I do sometimes think it'd be great to be a fly on the wall, to have a camera on every rider so that we can see what's happening. And then sometimes I think it's probably a very, very bad idea, because you could see where it all goes wrong. And come on, we all make mistakes as well. Let's face it. It's the person who never made a mistake, never made anything in this life. And that is definitely the case. But that's part of bike racing. It's part of racing, irrespective of what discipline you're in. And that is all part of the fun of it, as is the community. And don't forget, of course, a couple of bits of points for you that you maybe not have picked up on. Got a new ride going out with MyWhoosh. That's on Mondays at 6 o'clock UK, 9 o'clock Gulf Standard Time. The UK social ride that's going to be going out in Australia with by the powers of MyWhoosh. We are being transported over to Australia, to Wollongong, and the UK social ride going out at 6 o'clock. There are vicious rumours that one of us may be sitting on a bike at that point in time. We'll let you join to find out if it is the case. Don't forget, of course, we've got community rides going off on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 9 p.m. Gulf Standard Time. It's going to be about an hour's ride, and there's going to be a survey afterwards. It's your chance to give us your feedback. Tell us what you think. Let the team know. So please, guys, if you are listening, watching, and you've got time to join those rides, please do so. Great to see everybody on there, whether that's the Monday ride, the UK social at 6 p.m., the Gulf Standard Time for that is 9, or whether it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, same time basically, but that is on the community ride, and that's time to get some input back in towards us. So, taking a chance to get a pause in the pause in the action to just get that out there for you. Meanwhile, our races continue. Right-hand side of your screen, the leading Category 3 riders, currently at 13.5k nearly, just over 15.5k, the leaders in Category 1 and in Category 2. Plenty more racing to come and plenty more hills, no doubt, given that we've got 16 in total.
Yeah, so our leading Category 1 and Category 2 races are coming now on the descent after climb number 8 as they come towards the end of lap 2 of 4 laps of racing today.
So approaching half race distance, significant points. Like most riders, like most races, I have points in my head. Half race distance, always important. Next important bit, generally for me, is about 10k to go, because I know with 10k to go, I can bury myself towards the finish and really start to make life hard. 5k to go, if I'm suffering, I know that I can get there no matter what. 1k to go, always reminds me of a kilo distance on the track, which means that I know that I've got about, if it was on a track, about 1 minute and 4 or 5 seconds to cover a kilometre on the track at the end of a road race or an e-sport race. It's a lot longer than that. And then, of course, the last 200 metres for a sprint. These riders, though, they are working early, and that is guaranteed to make life difficult for somebody, because somebody is going to be thinking, half race distance, we're not there yet, and I'm still in this group, but I'm having a hard time.
Yeah, so we still have a large group leading this race, Matt. We've got 16 riders at last count still in this front pack. It's the leading race on the Category 1 and Category 2 race fields today as we start to come into this sweeping section that brings us to the end of lap 2. So we're here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, and in with this leading group of 16 riders coming towards the end of lap 2. We're coming towards 17 kilometres travelled in a 35.6 kilometre race, with 8 out of 16 climbs now complete.
So here on the run in to our finish, we are going to watch our riders just coming in and through. Once again, halfway through the racing, and another chance for our riders to look at what's going on. So basically, same groups, but 2 different views. The left-hand side is the rider's view, and this is what most of the riders will be looking at. And this is a great shot for them to learn how it comes through. So the camera angle that we have at the moment, this is the camera angle that most riders ride on when they're racing. This is how they will look to see and view what's coming up. Very difficult to contest a race finish if you are looking at any other angle. I actually think this is the best one because you can see riders beside you and behind you moving onwards. And that's not the case if you go first person, so basically eliminate your avatar, or if you go from a higher camera angle. So at the moment, this is the view the riders get as they come in towards the finish. This is the limited amount of time. And now that gantry comes into view, Emma, we've got a very limited run. It's probably going to be a race finish pace, about 4 or 5 seconds. You're going to see that, and you need to be sprinting before that point, don't you?
You do indeed. And I'm counting now that should have said 2 laps to go, and it said 1 lap to go. So I'm hoping we have 2 laps to go here, and we are at half distance. I've definitely counted 2 laps. So we are 2 laps into a 4-lap race today with the women. And indeed, the race course is in front of you. So we have covered 8 climbs. The riders are currently on the 9th climb, which is the first one on that screen. It's short, it's sharp, it's 400, 700, 800 meters of climbing, with gradients averaging 3 to 4.1%. But that's deceptive because we've seen these gradients, they're steeper in places, and this is constant on these riders. The first 2 laps, Matt, I think have been very steady. That front group went out hard and they broke away. Then we've got a group of 16 riders in this front group, and you can see them on the bridge in front of you as they come to the brow of what is climb number 9. And as we're in with Van Hoolen, as we sweep round this right-hand bridge, this is still a large group, and I think these last 2 laps have got to get really exciting for us to start seeing this group break up.
Well, I think the pace, I think you did right. This pace that they've been going after that initial acceleration has not been strong enough to break it apart. They've got the gap now. They know that they've got the distance on any chasers. There's no need to worry about that. They can now concentrate on winning the race rather than maintaining a lead. And that, I think, is going to be key. If they continue to ride around taking it steady, actually, they're likely to erode that because the guys behind are not going to ease up. They're going to continue chasing, and they're not going to give up on this. We've seen this before. That gap could come down, and then that's going to panic some of the riders into doing something that maybe isn't planned. Having a planned attack, doing what Gilson did last time, have a plan, execute it well, is generally the key to taking the win. A few people can be, opportunistic. They can jump in here, there, maybe just take advantage of an issue or a situation in a race, but that's not always the case. And that means for me, if I was in this group, I wouldn't personally carry 17 riders in. I would want to see this halved by the time we get to 1 lap to go, and potentially down to 3 or 4 riders, so that I knew who I was dealing with in that final technical run-in. If you take a big group, you're going to have so much going on looking for the finish. It's going to be very difficult to see just where you need to kick, who's going and who's attacking. So I'd want to be breaking that up at this stage.
Yeah, but who is going to be bold today, Matt? I think that is the key question watching these women.
I'll put your money on it, it's Gilson.
Well, I'm looking at the screen and I've just seen Gilson kick, and Gilson is kicking at more than 8 watts per kilo at the moment as she pushes on and pushes through. And who is going to respond behind? That is the question as we start to see numbers from Fua, Embring, Gilson. Van Hooling is pushing on to make this selection. But who else can stay there?
Well, this is really interesting, isn't it? We're taking a little look at the chase from Moreno. You got a good view from her looking forwards. Behind them, debris. I think there's going to be bodies everywhere because this is starting to split the group. So Gilson leading, Van Hooling leading the chase behind Fua, Gironi, Moreno in here. Embring in trouble. I think Conan in trouble. Look at the gap that Gilson has opened. Now, soloing for half of the race distance, not my idea of fun. I was daft enough to ride a 12-hour solo time trial once. That is not fun, but she's got some serious pace.
She has indeed, and Gilson, that was an amazing effort that pushed her heart rate to 198 beats a minute. I would explode if that was me. But Gilson is now taking that bit of recovery. She's gone over with a gap behind her. You know, talking about time trialing efforts, Matt, I do just have to take the opportunity to congratulate one of our riders who isn't with us today, and there's a reason why Faye Faber isn't on this start line today. So congratulations to Faye, who took the gold medal this week in the World Gran Fondo Time Trial Championships in her age category. So Faye, congratulations from us, and I bet you are enjoying those rainbow bands.
Well, really great to see our riders. We have a real mix of riders in different disciplines. We said this before. No doubt we'll continue to be saying it again because so many different disciplines, so many different styles of riding. And that's one of the great things about riding on MyWhoosh and on the e-bike platform is it gives you that fantastic mix of riders, people who time trial, who ride on the track, people who ride off-road, on gravel, on mountain bikes and eliminators. We've seen lots of very familiar names across all sorts of disciplines.
Yeah, let's not forget, Matt, we've got duathletes, we've got triathletes, we've got people who have come to cycling later in life after having done a completely different sport. And, you know, that is the beauty of this platform, is that people with very different disciplines, very different backgrounds can all come together and actually race on MyWhoosh.
And no matter where you are in the world, with the wonders of modern technology, you bounce your way around the world. And I've got to say, I really love racing with a real variety of people and riding with a real variety of people from all over the place.
Yeah, I have DS'd teams with riders in the map from the UK to the Netherlands to France to the USA, you know, all riding together as a team. You know, all of us on Discord, and it's fantastic to be able to bring communities across the globe together in a platform such as this.
Well, I'm going to just do a little rewind here to DS. Let's do some quick explaining here. What's a DS, Emma?
Or director sportif. So the person who isn't riding, but is part and parcel of the team and helps the riders navigate what is on the race in front of them, whether that's around the route and what is going to come up and the timing, for example, of their sprints, how long the climb is. You might be giving distances back to other riders. You might be talking team tactics with your team, or in a team time trial. But Matt, you might be talking through and off rotations.
Okay, so that's the DS role. And let's just rewind again to Discord. What's Discord?
So Discord is an app where you can pull a community together and you can talk to each other and listen and hear. And often you'll find riders, and I'm sure we've got riders today on the MyWhoosh platform here in their teams, talking to each other on Discord or on a similar type of app that allows them to have that communication platform.
And now that we're seeing Van Hooling on the attack, 7.2 watts per kilo, she knows that she's going to go for it. She's probably told Fua on Discord, as you said, had that communication, said, I'm going to go on the attack here. You don't need to do any work. I'll go for this. You sit in for a little bit. Same if you see somebody going down the road. You'd be saying, go after them. I've got the strength. No, I haven't. Yes. And all that communication, that talking to each other, is all part of the community that is riding and the team spirit that you get. And that's one of the really rewarding things. I think we're seeing now a real decisive moment in this race because we've got Gilson, we've got Van Heuling up here. We've got the riders who really have a habit of making the racing happen time and time again. And for me, that is key because at the moment, the riders who push on now, covering 22.5K, so we're basically coming up towards a third of the distance covered, they're the riders who are going to be able to push later. And I think we've seen a few of our second category riders at a distance out of the back of that group. We'll have a look. I think Olivieri could well be one of those that's gone along with Cordera and Sanchez. I think we potentially have shed 3 riders out of that leading group, but don't forget, of course, they could come back on again because none of these climbs are long, but you've got to push over the top to get back on again, and that is going to be very difficult indeed. So here we are on MyWhoosh, our riders, the leading group on your screens at the moment. It's fractured. I know Emma frantically trying to work out how many are in this group, how many have been distanced here today, and certainly looks to me like this is going to be a really key moment where we see a number of riders being distanced. And again, we're seeing another attack this time now from Bauer, pushing on a downhill. Tricky to make that stick.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it, Matt? Because I'm not sure it is tricky to make it stick because it's the unexpected. Pushing on a downhill section is not what most riders expect. So actually, it's a fantastic tactic from Bauer. And if I was her and I was feeling good, I would be putting it on even more.
It's certainly doing the job of distancing some of those second category riders out the back. We just about see them behind that group there as they came down. It was physical distance on the roads between our leading group and our chasers behind. But as the road says, another climb ahead. They keep on coming. Emma, can you remember what number we're on?
So we are coming up for climb number 12. We on this course today. So climb number 12 of 16 is where we will be getting to, as we are watching Jenny Sanchez, one of our category 2 riders, still working hard and staying in this lead pack. And that's what's really interesting on this course today, Matt. We haven't seen the fireworks from any of our category 1 riders yet. And actually, if you're clever and you're smart, about how you ride, it's enabled some of these category 2 riders to stay in this packs for so long.
Indeed, and I think we've seen quite a few courses recently which have been real sort of punchy climbs, shorter climbs. It allows those groups to stay together more. If it's just a pure one big effort or maybe 3 big climbs in the total race distance, it's much harder for the second category riders to stay with the first. If it is a punchy section, there's a more chance of recovery. But you can see we started off with a much bigger group, and again we're now starting to see riders be distanced at the back of this pack. Another big push here. And guess who is on the attack? Who's on the offensive? It is Gilson, once again pushing over the top. So more of our second category riders starting to be distanced, starting to whittle that group down. Can she break this and go clear with maybe 2 or 3 other riders? I reckon that's where I'm wanting to get to. Certainly, as you come through the line, be down to about 7 riders. 8 riders at the most. By the time you get into that finish, 3 or 4. Let's see what Gilson's going to do. She's got Bauer, Embring, Van Heuling chasing behind, Fua chasing behind. The riders already are working well. I think Hermansen is in there once again. Sanchez and Jarioni not all that far off the wheels either, but that attack by Gilson really wound it up as we come towards the end of 3 or 4 laps. And this, Emma, the run back in to the finish, the final chance really for people to take a look at what they've got and to memorize it for that final time.
It is indeed, Matt. And we've gone from lap number 1 with a group of 23 riders to 16 riders to 12 riders to 10 riders in this lead group. Slowly, this group is whittling its way down as we are pushing on this climb now, on this run in to the end of lap 3.
So great to get those stats of numbers coming down. Love that. It shows you, doesn't it, from that initial kick, we thought it was going to just disintegrate into ones and twos with that brutal kick off the start up the climb, but it didn't. It formulated into about 23, and then it did start to go down as Gilson once again pushes, but then backs off again. So kicking and backing off clearly has the power and the pace. I think she's desperately fishing to try and bring 2, 3, 4 riders there. If you want to take riders clear, you don't want to go all the way on your own. You want to pull a few through, but you've got to do that. And if you don't take a few, if you either bring everybody, then you definitely need to ease off, or if you end up going on your own, and it's really difficult to get that mix. Bearing in mind, this is Gilson, and nobody is going to want to sit in with Gilson solo as they come in.
Yeah, well, as we come into the end of lap 3, Matt, they are indeed sitting in, and there's some riders taking some serious recovery at the moment as we're looking at 1.3, 1.4 watts per kilo flashing through that group. And actually, someone could have gone straight over the top there and caught a large number of people napping, but you know, they haven't. They're all taking a little sit up and a little bit of a breather before we come into this final lap, with 1 lap to go when we cross the banner this time.
And remember, of course, the finishing line is the start of climb 1 of the final lap. And it starts to drag, it then starts to kick, and then it really kicks as you go into this. It gradually increases. There's a little bit of a step in it, but this is the run in. So this is the dress rehearsal. This is the last time our riders will see this run in to be able to memorize it for the finish. It is the time where they need to make sure they've got it dialed, to think about where they're going to go. Interestingly, I haven't seen anybody put in any practice kicks on the way, so I certainly won't be doing it now. It's a bit too late in the race, but maybe with 3 laps to go, 2 laps to go, I would have been doing that. Nobody putting in a practice kick because we're now on to climb 3% at the moment on this climb. This run to the finish is going to be tricky, as the banner showing 1 lap to go this time around. That will trigger actually when the leaders go in through. So there we go. We are on 1 lap to go on MyWhoosh. The race leaders in the women's race coming through. That's a group being taken down steadily throughout the race. But we now have 1 more lap to decide who is going to come over and take away victory in both the first and second category riders who are on your screens. Our third category riders not all that far behind. And remember, of course, this qualifier number 3 before our finals next week.
Yeah, so 1 lap to go on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. 1 lap and 4 climbs, and then a rolling run to the finish. This is going to be really exciting. We've gone from 23 to 16 riders to 12 riders to 10 riders on this final lap, as we are currently in with the lead group on the right-hand side of your screen of Category 1 and Category 2. And on the left-hand side of your screen, we are watching the lead group from Category 3 climb up and over the bridge.
Indeed, and they're currently on 22 kilometers nearly covered, 27k for the leaders in Category 1 and Category 2. Don't forget, of course, all of the results come under 3 categories. We have our live results as they come along and are racing. They will turn into unofficial results when every rider has finished the race and the timing system shut down. They will then be verified, and that will become the official results. At the moment, race qualifier number 1 is verified, qualifier number 2 is not, and that will still be the same at the end of this race for qualifier 3. Then they will be verified, and then the riders who have to verified qualifying rise will be in to our finals, and that is next week. We don't know where we're heading next week. The team at MyWhoosh do, but it's a closely guarded secret. Not even we got told that partly because we probably let slip and tell all you lot that where we were headed. But I'm expecting it to be a great final because, of course, we're not just contesting individual prizes in each category, but our team prizes as well.
So as we are in the final lap of 4 today in this women's race, we are in with the lead group. And we are still sat waiting for the match to be lit, to really light this race up on this last lap. But We are going to run out of road, Matt. We are 28.2 kilometres travelled over a 35.6 kilometre race. There is not long left to actually make this action happen today. So who is going to go?
Well, I think it could well happen here. We saw the black helmet of Gilson with the yellow jersey just push away up towards the front, then ease back off. I think we're going to see Van Heuling kicking on here. I suspect that is likely to be one of our faster riders up onto this climb. Van Heuling always ready to take this on at the front, and it looks to me like Liz Van Heuling going to be pushing on here now. So we're seeing 6.2 watts per kilo. Is somebody going to get left wanting here? And I think it's going to be a Jojo Bauer who's got issues. I think she's off the back of this group at the moment. And if that is the case, that is a major loss for Bauer. But Van Heuling eases off here. And that is telling as they come over the top. Gilson is going to continue this pace onwards. So it is Gilson, Fua. It's going to be Bauer just about in touch. We're just looking at Embring. I think distance. We're going to let this reform and come back together. And when it starts to be a little bit clearer, we'll try and get you a real update on this. Now, next attack over the top. I think we saw Bauer potentially laying off there because that was Bauer going through, I think, with the big watts per kilo. Here she is. Now, Bauer was off the back, then went through. Now, this is a tactic that is used, isn't it, Emma, to lay off and pull through the group?
Yeah, because that draft effect of the group and actually the momentum it gives you, if you time it right, of dropping to the back and then accelerating through the group, you are taking that draft with you and it really allows you to push and snowball over the top. And that's what we're seeing Jojo Bauer do here. Absolutely brilliantly, and she's not laying off the pace. And Bauer is now pushing hard as Bauer is touching 5 watts per kilo, and she is not letting up. And this is a downhill section, Matt. This is a brilliant tactic, as we're seeing Bauer really push on.
But she's not breaking them here. This is the telling thing. Bauer has pushed, she's gone, but look at that group behind. They are still in contention. And they've not come across. Now it goes slightly uphill. It levels again, then drops again. And Bauer is continuing onwards at 5 watts per kilo. And I think this could draw out an attack up from a couple of the other riders behind. It wouldn't surprise me to see a few people coming across. But what you want to do is sprint over. You do not want to just tow the rest of the group up. So now's the time to kick from the back up to the front. Bauer continues onwards, and they're caught napping, I think.
Well, I'm just looking at the screen, Matt, a little bit amazed that no one has gone with Jojo Bauer, because if that was me now, if I was Fua or Van Heulen or Gilson, I'd be making that, closing that gap and pulling a small group together and getting rid of the rest of the riders in that group.
Well, are we going to see Jojo Bauer go solo today? We saw Gilson do it last week. Bauer has gone 30k under the wheels at the moment. We are going to 35.6. She is at the critical kind of point where you're on about 5k to go. 5k to go, critical, but you know that you can push. You know that it's not all that far. And if you are a good time trial rider, a good solo rider, like we know Bauer is, that could be how you're going to make this pay off.
Yeah, you're right, Matt, indeed. You know, if you know you can hold 5 watts per kilo for 5 minutes, that is what you do, isn't it? Because this group behind are sat napping and looking at each other, playing a bit of cat and mouse, and Bauer has gone down the road and no one has chased her.
Nobody's got the power, I think, to chase it. And I think that for me is really, really telling here. Now we're seeing Gilson. She's chosen to wait until they come onto this climb to go after her. And Gilson now goes on the attack. So Gilson has chosen a moment. She was waiting, I think, there for the climb. But Van Heuling is straight on with her as well. So it looks to me like we've got Van Heuling, we've got Gilson, and they are going to be attacking up here. Fua has gone as well, I think, into that group. They have got 8 seconds to make up on Bauer, And that is a big, big ask. So at the moment, Jojo Bauer leading the race. However, the chase is on behind. Gilson is trying to come across the group with Fua and Van Heuling in touch in category 1. But this is a massive ask. And I think we may well have one rider sandwiched in between. Just going to take a double check. Yeah, Jenny Sanchez just being distanced back. I think Sanchez has gone on an early chase, but being category 2, not able to make that kick. So this is Jenny Sanchez who had gone for it, but unable to get across. So it's Bauer in 1, Gilson in 2, Van Heuling in 3. They are up the road, and this is looking good. I think they may well have sprung the gap. Can they make this stick? Are they going to get together? Bauer, Gilson, and Van Heuling are so strong.
Whoa, Gilson is going through the roof here. This is amazing effort from Gilson. Her heart rate is currently 207 beats per minute. She is absolutely seeing stars at the moment trying to catch Jojo Bauer as Bauer pushes on and shows us what an outstanding time trialer she is.
She is indeed. She's being pursued by Gilson. Look, Gilson's watts per kilo. She's dropped to 1.8. The question is she going to wait to pick up some assistance here from somebody like Van Heuling? Because that, for me, is going to be key here. If you can pick up some assistance, if you can pick up a little bit of help, you're going to be away. But I think she's actually sitting in the draft of a lapped rider. Here we go. She is. Look at that now. That is smart. Look, the numbers are in green. So when they go in green, she's sat and drafting a rider. So when she couldn't make it, she's jumped in. Gilson, super smart. That is definitely the smartest cookie of the day award going to Rebecca Gilson. By jumping in there, she took some extra rest by sitting behind a lapped rider, our third category rider, seeing Gilson taking a little bit of rest there because she couldn't get across to Bauer. In the meantime, Bauer is pushing on at 4.7, 4.9 watts per kilo. She's got 17 seconds. This could be a serious win here today for Bauer.
And Bauer is coming up now onto the final climb of the day. She's got 700 meters, and this climb of 700 meters, the average gradient is 2.5%. We then drop down the other side. There's a small climb, another descent, a section of flatlands that goes right, left, and we keep going until that final banner comes on a slight uphill drag.
So this is the time where Bauer's got to really push on. It looks like Van Heuling has moved into second position. Gilson has gone on from second place from hero to zero. At the moment, she's got to get back into the group. So Gilson, after that massive push, is now paying the price for it. In the front of the race, we've got Bauer on the right of your screen. Come on, Jojo, this is our time to make it stick. We want to see aggressive racing. Bauer went for it. Now she's got to make it pay. She's got to stay out in front. The gap has gone. She's got distance. It's only a few hundred meters on this climb, but it could be key as we come to the finish. Bauer at the moment is coming up for the point where we start to count them down with about 2.5 kilometers left to go. Yep, just under 2.5K to go. This is going to be tough stuff now. Jenny Sanchez, I think another phenomenal ride from on category 2, a rider begging to be lifted, I think, up to category 1 here today, because power like this absolutely flying away at the moment, and this is telling. She's going to go clear here, but can she get across? Bauer has done the work. It is incredible riding here by Bauer. Can she stay clear of the chasers behind?
Yeah, so we are in with Jojo Bauer as she has put in an outstanding time trial effort to go clear of this group. She kicked on the descent when no one was watching and no one was expecting it, and she's maintained it on the climbs as she comes up to 34 kilometers traveled in this race. An outstanding ride. We're seeing 14 seconds now back to the chasing riders and chasing groups with Sanchez, Van Heuling, Hermansen, Sanchez, Fua, Olsen, all now distanced by our lead rider, Jojo Bauer.
So here we go on MyWhoosh. Bauer leading us out at the moment It is very good right by Bauer, but she's got to make it stick. 34.3k covered. She's got the gap. Remember, this is a very, very difficult run-in to get right, to make sure that you get this dial. Gilson and Van Heuling in a grudge match, I think, here with Fua in the mix as well. Embring is not out of this, but Gilson is sitting and waiting. Remember, she's going to be looking to come up over towards Bauer. Remember, pricing our first, second, and third category riders. And at the moment, our race leader on the left of your screen, the rider who took it on, she's gone clear. It is going to be Jojo Bauer, who has the run at the finish. She's led them out. She has answered every attack that came from Gilson. Gilson swallowed back up by the group behind, and I think it's going to be a bunch, a sprint behind. However, it is a Jojo Bauer who is leading them into was the finish here today. Left of your screen, so I'm sure we're going to see him on the big screen soon, because it's going to be a race of victory for Bauer as she starts to come around this turn. We're looking for that gantry coming. It's still another 500 meters. What can we say about this rider, Emma? Jojo Bauer looks amazing.
It's an outstanding ride by Jojo Bauer. She used her head. She attacked on the descent when the others weren't looking. She pushed on up the climb, and she's held a steady, excellent time trial pace as she's coming round this sweeping left-hand bend, Matt, with less than 200 meters to go.
Well, here we go. The run into the finish starts. She knows that gantry can't be far away. We saw a heart rate of over 200 from her. She gets out of the saddle. This is the final kick for the line. Taking race victory in qualifier number 3. It is Jojo Bauer who takes the race win, 57.55. The sprint is on behind. It is going to be a quick kick in and over the line in category 1. It's Bauer from Van Heuling from Gilson as they come through with Fua right on the heels here today. So Bauer, Van Heuling, Gilson, Fua, the top 4 riders in and through. And I'm just taking a little look at the team competition. Spartan Obstacles have 2 runs in, but they're not going to take the team win here today. And great to see Anna Embring, top 10 for the Fusion squad. What a ride by her. She was yo-yoing in and out, got back in there and doing an amazing job. But Las Colombianas, Jojo Bauer, what a win.
Yeah, absolutely outstanding today. And, you know, it didn't look like it was fast and furious, but some great times and a really good time on that course today, with Jojo Bauer taking it in 57 minutes from Van Heuling, Gilson and Fua. And look at that, Matt. You know, an average watts per kilo of 4 watts per kilo. So whilst we saw kickers on that climb, we saw recovery on the descents. Those last 5k from Bauer was an outstanding time trialing effort to win.
Definitely. And look at the, you said about the times. I took a look down thinking, oh, we'll be well over there. 57.55 for the win. Top 10, 58 minutes coming in.
And a negative split, Matt, because we went through the 2-lap banner exactly on 30 minutes. So 30 minutes for the first 2 laps, 27, nearly 28 minutes for the second 2 laps. A perfect negative split.
Oh, he's showing your stats head again there. Joined here, of course, for the racing. Once again by Emma Martin, the professor, showed quite why she gets that title on the way through. She's a genuine professor. It's not just made up by me to take the mickey, believe me. Many things I take the mickey out of people for, but definitely not having worked hard enough to be a prof. So here we go. Next rider on the way in to the line. There's been some great riding, and we're going to see Silvia Ilaria Olivieri on the way into the line in our second category competition and making her way up the climb. We've seen some great racing here today. And Emma, this course, it's tough. I'm not sure I'd want it as a final, but I think it could be a cracking race route, don't you?
Well, I don't disagree, Matt. And actually, I would love to see it as a final, because can you imagine a team, not just individual racing and qualification racing on this course, but team racing on this course? I think it would make an outstanding final, and I would love to see it.
So with that thought and showing you the riders in our top 11 there today, Don't forget, you can, of course, catch up with all the rest of the race results on the MyWhoosh website. Don't forget, we'll have to wait till next week to find out whether or not we are on that course for our finals. We don't know. We're not told such things, and I can't wait to find out. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give it a tick. Get notified every time we go live on MyWhoosh with the Sunday Race Club. Don't forget, of course, you can catch up with us on the Community Rise on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And, of course, you could join probably myself, I have to admit, on Monday, 6 p.m. UK, 9 p.m. Gulf Standard Time for the UK Social Ride. First one of those that's going to be going out every week. Don't forget, of course, you can catch up with everybody on social media. Emma, where can we catch up with you?
Yeah, you can find me at Biking Emma on Instagram or Twitter. Or indeed at Full Speed Events.
And of course, you can catch up with me at some Fix of Pain, and that is on MyWhoosh as well as on Strava and Facebook. Don't forget, of course, we've got lots more racing. We're going to be back next week. From everybody at MyWhoosh, stay safe. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.